quarter time it seemed fairly even. They probably made more of their opportunities. Do you feel the shift in power, if you like, in the game was it an attitudinal thing on the part of your guys, or did you flick a few switches? What caused it, do you think?
Firstly, I'll say I was really proud of the players for dealing with the whole game. There was a lot of ups and downs, particularly in the early phase. Thought they controlled a lot of the game, and we were hanging on for different periods. And I think when you're able to handle momentum swings, it obviously gives you much better looks. And then once we got the momentum, we were able to maintain it. So I was really proud of them. I think from halfway through the second quarter, I think we really controlled a lot of the game. After that, they obviously threw a few different things at us, but the players handled it, for the most part, really well.
You stifled their inside 50s, particularly that second quarter. James Sicily was huge in defence as well.
Yeah, they obviously resourced the midfield heavily, and they're very, very good in there. And that meant that our defenders were working in a fair bit of space, which his first half was obviously outstanding, and he made them. I'm not sure what Bevo would have said, but I thought that they had to change a couple of things just because of him, really. But the way that our defenders were moving the ball and getting it out of there, reasonably comfortably. So I thought we were quite mature. It was 97,500. So thank you for everyone that came out. It's the biggest crowd that certainly I've ever coached, or most of them would have ever played in front of. And the players just handled every aspect of the game pretty well. Whatever was thrown at us, whether it was tactical, whether it was even little things like score reviews or blood rules or all those little details in a game which you can lose your way. Even Bontempelli's first 5 or 8 minutes of the last quarter was, I think everyone was saying, "Oh no, here we go." And then, the fact that the players were able to handle things like that, I just thought we showed a level of maturity which gives me a bit of confidence.
Did you have a specific plan to curb Bontempelli's influence?
We have go-to things that we would use, but he was playing. He's such a dynamic and dangerous player. He can beat you with total numbers, but normally he just beats you with impact. And he certainly looked like doing that a couple of times. And David Hale, I thought, coached the midfield really well today. It was quite they're a challenging team to coach against. So I thought David Hale did a really good job with the mids and the midfield. I think it was a pretty good battle. I think Nuke ended up with some big numbers, but it was quite an even sort of contribution and that's what we've relied on for the majority of the year, is not any individual players, but being able to share the load.
How do you think a group this young is able to handle these big moments, as you say, like Kalsha did, Nick Watson, just really young players are able to step up and play in front of 100,000 people?
It's a good question. I wonder if it's the naivety of youth. I wonder if they just don't know it's a big deal. They don't really know any different. But they're enjoying their footy, and they're playing with a high amount of energy. And you'll look at the scoreboard and the goals and the points that they kicked. But I thought Wiz was a little bit off early, but he had a couple of chases and a couple of pressures. He just got a fingernail on someone, and then a goal came. And so that's the stuff that will show. Probably won't be the goals. It'll be the chasing and the pressure. And I think that's where we looked on song tonight. I thought for the majority of the game, our pressure held us in good stead, and it meant that their ball use wasn't sharp enough to give their forwards the look that they needed to put a score up.
Just a word on your defence, because there's a lot of focus on the excitement and the small forwards, but so much of your good work seems to stem from both the pressure but the back six as well. They've done a great job, really, and it probably doesn't get enough kudos almost.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking to the players after the game. You look at every player and there's a story. I think, someone like Frosty, we wouldn't have thought he was going to be the number one big fullback this year. And he's been able to do it for the whole season, really, and just held up fantastically well. Someone like Blake Hardwick did the whole pre-season as a forward, but we've needed him in defence for the majority. So two guys who, they don't get very many headlines, but they're just so valued within our four walls. And I think when you've been trying to build something consistent for a period of time, sometimes what you get is a collective belief over the time, and I think the defenders have got a great confidence in each other. They've played a lot of footy together now, and so they trust that the midfielder put on enough pressure to give them a chance, and then they trust each other to win or halve their contests and get it out of there quickly. So when you have all of those things working together for a longer period of time, I think that's what's given them great value as a collective.
So how influential has Lloyd become for you? When did you realise he was going to be so influential this year?
I mean, Meekie's another one with a good story. I mean, he didn't start in the team. He started playing at Box Hill the early phase of the year, and obviously the new ruck rule that they brought in, that you could come across the line with a bit more freedom has helped him. He's obviously big and strong, and that's his strength. But he's a guy who, from a work ethic point of view, no one would outwork Meekie anywhere. And so when you have that, and you've had it for, I think he played his 50th game last week or maybe the week before, 7 years in, and he's earned every one of his 50. He's not a guy who, like an early draft pick, who might get gifted a few early days. He's earned every one of those games, and now when you put his magnet up, you have a level of confidence that you know what you're going to get. And I think when you have ruckmen who are like that, it goes a long way to making you play consistent football, which we've been able to do.
Sam, from a 0-5 start to the season, now you're in a semi-final.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of the 0-5. That hasn't come up.
It was. Is there any part of you that's surprised at what's happened this season, how it's unfolded?
It's not the first time I've been asked if I'm surprised at the 0-5. It sounds really bad. But I did think we played some good football in that time, and we were right in a couple of those games, and we could easily have won a couple of them. So we knew that we were better than that. Did we think we were as good as we've become as quickly as we have? Maybe that would have been a stretch at the time. But I knew progress, and we all knew that progress was coming, was just needed to click into gear. And we're obviously running on a fair bit of momentum at the moment, which is good fun.
You're part of a side that in, say, 07, 08 really sort of exploded almost, found the self-belief and went on to achieve great things. Do you see parallels between that, and I don't mean you're going to win a flag, but do you see parallels between that and this group?
Well, I think one of the great traps is to look backwards. What I know about the 07, 08 is we weren't looking back at anything. So I think this group has been outstanding at looking forward. We've been playing elimination finals for 10 weeks really, and we had a real one today, which is another step, maybe a slightly bigger step in the right direction for us. But I think the lessons that we need to learn are we're going to play Port Adelaide in Adelaide next week, and so I'm sure last time we played them, they ran us down by a point right at the end of the game, and what lessons have we learned from those? But they're the lessons that we'll be focused on, the ones that we've learned.
Big goal and a celebration from Jack Ginnivan. Does he sort of thrive when he has a relaxed approach heading into finals?
You guys will love to cover everything Jack Ginnivan, I'm sure. So, we know how he plays, we know how he celebrates, we know how he goes about it, and I don't think there's any surprises in anything Jack does. I actually thought he was enormously influential in the second quarter when he got up a bit higher. He went up closer to the stoppages, and I thought he was a big part of getting the game back on our terms. Not statistically necessarily, but if you look at his game impact through the second quarter, I thought he was one of the players that really led the turning point for us, and we actually got a lot of momentum from that period, and we really were able to maintain it for the rest of the game. So there'll be a lot of focus about his celebrations and where he has dinner and all those things, but we're very focused on what he does on the field, and we're wrapped with that.
Is that his best celebration yet?
Was that?
Is that his best celebration yet?
Oh, was it? No, I've enjoyed some of his other ones. I enjoyed the ones that are, I like the ones that are from our coaches or from our other players, and I always like it when I know what's coming. I didn't know about that one, so,
In all seriousness though, that was a non-issue for the club last night.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't ask. I probably should have. I wonder how many of our players went out for dinner to a public place last night. Probably, I would guess maybe half. So I don't. I think most of us have watched Friday night footy or Thursday night footy at a public venue for the majority of the year. And does that he played well and he lives how he lives and I knew about it. As long as he went home around the half-time mark, then I was going to be pretty happy with what he's doing, and it's no issue for me at all.
Sam, did you think Luke Bruce would get to 300 this year?
I don't know. How many had he played at the start of the year? I knew it was on the cards. I knew if he played every game that he would roughly get there. He's got a whole nother year in front of him now, so he's got plenty of time. But I think that was 299, was it?
Do you expect Luke Day to be available next week?
Unknown. So he's running, but not doing any contact at this stage. So we'll talk to the medical guys, and obviously he was pleased that we won because it gives him a chance, doesn't it? So. Yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll have some training Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I think. So we'll find out around that time.
We'll just take one more.
Can I just ask you, bigger picture one, but given you've been playing sort of de facto elimination finals, a lot of pressure, end of the long season, there's no doubt that pre-finals bias sort of given the bottom 4 of the 8 a bigger chance than it used to. Do you feel that's a huge benefit to you over the next few weeks?
Yeah, so someone asked me that last week, and I really don't know. There was a part of me that thought, I wish we were playing last weekend so we could keep the momentum going. Obviously, I sit here now and I'm quite happy with how it's panned out. But I mean, I haven't been here often enough to have an answer for it. What I know is the players are played with an enormous amount of energy and vibrancy in that game, and you go in there now and they're all bagged up like after every game. So we'll take what's in front of us. We have no control over the rules, but we do know that we got a Port Adelaide side who obviously would be disappointed with their performance from last night, and we're not too pleased with the last time we played them. So it's going to be a great one, and we'll rest and recover for the next day or two, and then we'll start getting ready for the next game. It's just exciting.